So yeah, I mean, you may have come up with a variety of reasons, but one being you've got to be familiar with English. So if English is your second language, or you don't speak English as clearly, this is going to be a harder question for you. But also you have to have a very flexible vocabulary. We tend to learn vocab words like this through words, we tend to learn vocab words like this through schooling, through reading books, things like that. It's not some innate intellectual capability that you're able to know these random 5-letter words. So there's a lot of bias in these types of tests. That's just going to be my soapbox takeaway. But overall, what I want you to take away is that there are pros and cons to these types of tests. So some advantages is it tends to have pretty strong correlations with math and verbal skills. These skills are skills that are typically easy to objectively measure, supposedly, and they score pretty well. So if you do well on one IQ test math questions, you're going to do well on the SAT math questions, for instance. Second is that there tend to be culture-free tests. So we've come a long way from those kind of army tests that are hard to separate experience from. Things like those pattern recognition, figuring out what square comes next, is an attempt at being culture-free. So that's potentially an advantage too. And it tends to be a predictor of success in school. So take that what you will, because I just soapboxed why that also might not be fully accurately depicting the whole picture. But those are the advantages that we're supposed to know about intelligence. However, as we mentioned earlier, it does not correlate with art or design or creativity in any means, because that's subjective to measure, but also the test is not designed to do that. It's only designed to tell you how analytical you are in math and verbal skills. As we mentioned earlier, it's very susceptible to bias in all sorts of culture, socioeconomic status, etc. So it's very hard. There's little evidence to suggest that we can actually separate test performance from these factors. And it doesn't necessarily predict your success in life. In general, only the things that that test is designed to predict, like schooling and academic performance. So it doesn't necessarily tell you how good of a parent you're going to be or how good of a person you are. So pros and cons of IQ tests. So I want you to tell me, we've talked about now like Army beta IQ tests. We've gone through 4 different examples of types of questions that could appear on modern tests. I want you to tell me what types of questions you think should be on IQ tests in order to be the most fair or the least susceptible to bias. What do you think we should test on to fully represent someone's intelligence? That's a tough question. Again, we haven't solved that, but tell me your thoughts. What do you think?